How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the very first episode of Popcorn and Pints. And I have my very first guest, Liz Priestley. Liz, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And this is, like we were just talking a few minutes ago, this is new for me, only for the aspect of I'm so used to doing horror interviews and just horror. Which, I mean, it can't be too much different because it's just different content, but you're still doing the same type of
Exactly.
And for those of you who don't know, behind me, this is from the movie Concrete Cowboys, which is starring Liz Priestley, Idris Elba, Method Man. And I do not remember his name, but I'm a big fan.
Caleb McLaughlin.
Thank you. Caleb McLaughlin, Stranger Things. And I'm just going to, I guess, I'll just jump right into it. No, you know what? My first question will be, like, what genre of movies is your favorite?
Oh, man. I don't know if that's fair to ask an actor what their favorite genre is, because I could never ever I could never decide. I could say, what's my favorite movie in each genre, but I can never narrow it down. I mean, I do like a good action thriller. I'm a big comedy fan. I am girly. I do like the rom-coms. Sort of, kind of, they're all great for different reasons. It all just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. You know what I mean? So it's like,
all right, I'll question up because, as everybody knows, my favorite genre is horror. So I'll ask you, and I don't have a favorite movie in horror, so I feel bad asking you this question. But favorite horror movie, favorite action movie, and I'll say favorite rom-com.
Okay. Oh, all right. Favorite horror movie. Oh man, that's a good one. I guess if it's not too cliche to say, I think I would probably say my overall favorite horror was probably Psycho.
Okay. That's fair.
Maybe depending on what day and my mood, I might say the original It, but I think I'm leaning towards Psycho. I tend to like kind of classic horror movies, like pre 1990s. I'm more from the 70s or whatever. But yeah, the slasher stuff. And then let's see, favorite action thriller. This is so funny, but I think of all time is probably Speed. And I'll tell you why. Because it's the first action movie that I can ever remember being I got all the way to the end, and then I was like, I need to rewind it. Let's watch it again. And I immediately watched it again. I had never really done that with movies before, but I remember because the first time I saw it, I was sick at home and I was on the couch all day. And I just remember vividly being like, this movie is keeping me on the edge of my seat. I really want to know, is he gonna save them? Are he and Sandra gonna end up together? I was so into it. So I, just because of nostalgia reasons, that might be my favorite. But I do like a lot better action movies, I guess. I don't know.
I like that though, because you have those movies that, again, it's one you're so used to watching, you just end up watching it. Or it's one of those guilty pleasure movies. You're just I know everything that's going to happen. I enjoy this movie so much. I know there's better movies out there. For me, I know there's better movies than horror movies out there. Horror genre, slasher is my favorite subgenre of horror. I don't necessarily have a favorite movie, but Friday the 13th, that's my favorite franchise. Jason's my favorite slasher.
Jason, yeah. I mean, yeah, I love movies that they build on themselves each time. A new one in a set of movies comes out, when it tops itself, which I know is rare because sequels tend to kind of go down in quality. But when it tops itself, and I feel like horror is one of those genres that each decade, I don't know if it's the technology or just I don't know, but it seems like the way they make horror movies gets better and better each decade. You know what I mean? And you know, the stuff, it's like I wish I could almost go back in time sometimes and be like, no, just watch Saw and tell me what you think, you know, to like a 1980s audience, and they'd just be like on the floor, you know, not knowing what to do.
I'm back and forth with that, and the only reason why I say that is because it's, I mean, I know I get with the newer technology. I'll say the better stories now, maybe, but the thing I don't like about the newer technology, and a lot of horror fans can agree with this, is the non-practical effects anymore.
Yeah.
Because you have too much of the CGI stuff, and it looks...
Yeah. It's fake.
Yes, exactly. And I know sometimes you need to use it, but sometimes it's just way overdone. I feel like CGI is best for, like, Marvel-type movies and movies like that. Perfect for that. Beautiful for that. But for a horror movie, we like the practical effects, and I think that's why indie horror, which we will get into the regular movie genre people, but I feel like with horror, the reason why like indie horror can work so well, and because horror can be made on a smaller budget. I feel like that's why a lot of indie filmmakers are successful with horror, because it can be made on a smaller budget, and we're kind of used to that because a lot of our favorite franchises were made on, I don't know the exact budgets, but today's standards would be really small budgets.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A movie like Speed that you mentioned, like Friday the 13th and Speed, I'm sure it costs a lot more money to do Speed than Friday the 13th, even if they came out at the same time.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like for horror that we love that, because it's like, okay, they have to do this. And when you get to see like when they show you behind the curtain, like how they did this, like, oh wow, that was so simple, but it looks so cool in the movie.
Yeah.
And you see it now once they show you, but it doesn't bother you. Versus the CGI stuff, you're just like, oh man.
And it's all computer. Yeah, I think practical effects, it's a sort of a lost art form in a way. Like, I'm glad that there are people that are starting to really try to only do practical effects as opposed to relying on the CGI. Because it does feel more real, more gritty, more, I don't know, real, like you're really in it when it is a practical effect, as opposed to CGI, especially when it's terrible CGI. I mean, it takes you right out of the story. You're just like,
so many.
Well, what was that? You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I think, you know, for something like the superhero movie, or, you know, big budget explosions or things like that, CGI has its place. And then it's something like horror, it really does make a difference when it's, you know, somebody coming up to you and actually painting on the blood, as opposed to like, let me put markers on your face for where the computer will render your blood. You know, it's like, and as the actor, it feels better too when you have the real stuff, as opposed to like, oh, so this tennis ball is the monster. Okay, and I have to wear his eyes. Like, you know what I mean? It's better when it's real, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, before I ask you what got you into acting and all that, are you and I don't know anything about acting and all this stuff. Now, are you like, when you go out for roles or whatever, I don't know how this works again, are you like typecast at times because of your being a Black woman, or?
You know, it's such a great question. I don't. And it's because I think I confuse casting people sometimes, because I have to be careful of how I say this. I know what I look like. I also know what I sound like. And for them, they don't go together.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So in some ways, I make it very difficult for them, because I walk into the room and they think they know what I will sound like. And then I open my mouth and I'm like, hi, I'm Liz. And they're just like,
This is what she means, people. When we have to be professional on the telephone, it's like, hi, yeah, how you doing? You walk in the room like, I didn't know you were how you doing, sir?
Exactly. So in some ways, no, I don't. I get to kind of escape that. And then in other ways, I think because of what I sound like, they're like, well, we can, you know, I play a lot of like doctors, nurses, lawyers, and teachers, because I guess I sound very professional. I don't know. But no, fortunately for me, so far in my career, in both stage and film so far anyway, I think I've managed to sort of subvert that. And yeah, I know it happens, but with me, I'd say maybe like 30% of the time. Okay. The rest of the time, it's like, oh, she could do that. Sure, she could do that. Yeah.
which I think is awesome. I'm just wondering that because I don't know. I hear about it, like you hear about it when you listen to interviews on the club or, you know, the Hollywood stories and all that, how the people are typecast, and not just with people our complexion, but just in general. Like, okay, well, this white dude looks like a skater dude, so we're just gonna give him the skater role or the surfer role, and he's like their personality is gonna be the complete opposite in real life.
It's interesting that you. Yeah, no, it's interesting that you asked because when I actually auditioned for Concrete Cowboy, the part on the page when I was in the audition process was different than the part that I ended up playing. I mean, same character, but at that point in time, she was written as, I would say, something more stereotypical in terms of what we've seen Black women in movies be. You know, at that point, she was written as having a severe like drug problem. She was being evicted from her apartment. I think in the script, she was originally going to be going to rehab. And she was, you know, just real kind of down on her luck type of situation. And by the time I got the role, it had been rewritten to what I think is actually closer to the source material, because this is based on a book, Ghetto Cowboy. And so the part as I ended up playing her, you know, she ends up being a nurse, you know, this professional woman who just happens to be a single parent who just is very, you know, stressed about the life that her son is living. But they took out sort of the cliche elements that I was happy to see go personally. So I was really glad that ended up leaving, because I was like, I feel like I'm not playing a stereotype now. Like I'm playing someone that we all know, just, you know, someone who just goes to work every day, does her thing, but is having a hard time raising her child on her own, as opposed to, you know, kind of the other stuff that we see a lot. So yeah, it was actually, I'm glad that they changed it. I was a little worried, like, does that mean I didn't pull it off convincingly? I don't know, but I, you know, I was happy either way. I was like, this is much better for me. So yeah,
it's refreshing to hear though, because I mean, we have plenty of those freaking movies.
Yeah,
it's the single Black mother. She's down. She's unsuccessful until. And sometimes she's unsuccessful until she meets a guy, or she's unsuccessful until whatever hurdle happens.
Yeah.
Not that those stories don't need to be told, but they were told so many times. Why not have a story where somebody's already successful?
Yeah.
Maybe
we've seen those.
Yeah.
We've seen those stories many times.
I'll say successful in their profession, but maybe not successful in their personal life.
Yes.
Not necessarily drugs and stuff, but just regular stuff that a single parent has to go through. Any race that goes through the same.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
A hard-headed kid.
Yeah, I mean, it became, it gave my character a motivation, right? As it was originally written, it's about, I need to get clean, so I need to get rid of you, as opposed to what it became, which was, I need to do the best thing for you. And I think it's getting you to your father. You need a father figure in your life. So then it becomes about, you know, it becomes about my son. It becomes a positive motivation for her to act. So I was much happier playing that, as opposed to, you know, I'm an addict that needs to get clean. And there absolutely is nothing wrong with that, but it was way more interesting to me to play someone who's actually a little more similar to me, because I'm a single parent and, you know, that's my life. She's a professional and so am I. So it was nice that they made that change. Yeah, I never found out the reason for it, but I'm glad it happened.
Now, is there any roles? Have you ever turned down any roles, or would you turn down any roles for specific reasons? Or
yeah, I mean, I I'm not at the point yet where I can you know, be turning down roles willy-nilly, but I like, for purely selfish reasons, like I'll turn down roles that required nudity because I'm just not in the shape I want to be in, you know? So I'm like, I'll pass. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, though, I do try to at least approach each opportunity with the sense of like, now what would happen if I got this? You know what I mean? Because I like the variety of playing different people. And don't get me wrong, I like playing. I've played, the drug addict, down on her luck, prostituting herself kind of. I've played that role too. And it's equally interesting to me. It just all depends on the context of the story and, what my character is trying to do throughout the story. So, but yeah, I mean, in general, I try to accept each thing as it comes, unless I really am like, this is not, like, there's no way that I can pull this off, which is rare, but, nudity would be a big one. I'm just like, oh, well, it's not, I'm good.
Understandable. Not everybody wants to be, nude on.
Yeah, it's like, some other people could do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Then it's like, okay, I have a child, I have a family, this, that, and the third. I don't want them seeing this. Like, hey, you don't want to see that movie.
Maybe 10 years ago, but no, I'm good. I'm good now. But that's about it. I get excited when I get a role, and it really doesn't matter what kind of role it is. I just really like to dig into whatever this character is thinking and feeling. And then, like I said, if I have a very strong gut feeling of like, this is not the role for me, or I really shouldn't do this, then I won't. But I really can't think of many instances where I've done that.
Understandable. No, that's cool though. That's good. Now, would you or have you ever done a horror movie?
I've written some horror screenplays, and I would absolutely do it. So my thing is, like, I like horror movies, but I'm a big scaredy cat. So I feel like I would be like, yes, I will absolutely do a horror film, and then start shooting it, and then like not be able to sleep at home for the entire shoot, because I'd just be like, I like them though. I think they're really fun, and they're actually really fun to shoot. I've been in 2 little horror film project things, and they're fun. They're fun. Being a scream queen is fun too.
See, okay, now I got another question. What were these? Are they out for the public to see?
No. One was one that I wrote that I was helping a friend of mine. We were trying to get ourselves on film to, like, put a reel together or whatever. It didn't make it to mine, but she has it somewhere. And then the other one was one I did when I was in acting school. But it's fun. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's odd to just be in the background. And, but it's fun when the guy's chasing you with the knife, and your whole job is to stand there and be like, and just watch him come. It's great. You get paid to do that. It's amazing.
See, now that right there, don't get me wrong, I do want to see this movie, but I feel like I need to see you in a horror movie. because you said, like, you would have the fear, you'd be scared, which I feel would play.
I would be.
Well, so I know you'd be acting, but you'd be genuinely scared of what's coming up. So that's and I'm the type of person now, I pay more attention to there's an emotion, whatever genre movie I'm watching, the emotional scenes. I look at the people's eyes and their face. And I think it's because I've been doing these podcast interviews and stuff so much on my other show. Mm-hmm. And I look at their eyes and their face, and some people really sell it with the emotion of their eyes and their face, angry, sad, scared, whatever the case may be. And then it's just like, okay, you're pretending to be scared, but you don't look scared. You
don't look scared.
To be mad, and I'm just like, I wouldn't know how to get into that emotion. I guess for fear, for me, it'd be like, okay, remember yourself, 8 years old. You just broke a lamp. Your mom's on her way. She knows you did it. Like, okay,
yeah, it's a little bit of method acting in there, going back to the memory. Absolutely. I mean. Yeah, for me, I don't think there would be much acting required if somebody's stalking towards me with a knife and I'm going to be, like, it's, I got these huge eyes. So it's like,
That's perfect for horror.
Yeah, perfect for horror.
Now, I don't know how much you can discuss about this movie, because I know it's not out yet.
Discuss quite a bit, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, before we get into that, I do want to ask you, like, so what got you into acting? I know you said you do plays as well, but was that did that start like in school and plays, like plays?
Yeah, I mean, I've told this story before. Yeah, so I mean, I basically knew that this is what I wanted to do since I was a kid. Watching, movies and shows when I was about 7 or 8, and being like, I want to make movies. I want to do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I never lost that passion. I just, and I did other things. I'm a musician as well. I'm an opera singer. I'm a violinist. I'm a pianist. And I went to school for musical theater to get the training. But the whole time it was always like, these are all stepping stones to get to, where I want to get to. And yeah, when I was in my first play when I was 12. No, that's not true. Actually, we did, like all through elementary school, you do plays in school every year. So I did all of those. But the first one that I ever like auditioned for and got a part in, I was 12. And I was hooked after that. And so I did all the ones that I could in school. And then, I went to college for musical theater. And ironically, the whole time I was there, I only got cast in one musical. I kept getting cast in all the plays, which was great for me. Mm-hmm. And then, I graduated. And I was in New York for a little bit, working as an actor, making my living as an actor. I went on tour with a musical. And then I've been doing theater in New York and Philadelphia for the past, 25 years-ish altogether, if you put it all together. So, but I mean, really, as far back as I can remember, this is the only thing I ever wanted to do. And it was just like, how do I get to there? What road do I need to take to get to there? And, I've had quite a few detours on the way, but yeah, I'm still here.
That's really cool though. And I mean, especially being an African-American woman, like, you don't hear people from our backgrounds as far as the violinist, pianist, mm-hmm. other stuff. It's like
opera singer. I mean,
yes, an opera singer.
That gets a lot of looks when you say opera singer.
For us, it's soul, hip hop, R&B, and like
R&B,
and that's it. Which, I mean, and then you're just like, okay, I'm going to come from this field.
I'm going to do it all different, totally different.
Way different. Yeah. But I said use that as like stepping stones to get to where you really want it. So, okay, I'm talented in this, and this. So if you want to cast me as a pianist in a movie, a violinist, an opera, you can't say no to this because I can do all these roles.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could say no to now is if they go, "Can you dance?" I'll be like, no, I'm not a dancer. I did the musical theater thing. I got the training, but not a dancer. But no, everything else, I mean, it was great training. And you definitely become a more well-rounded performer when you can do more. So I'm glad I did all of that. But now it feels like now for the first time, I'm really doing the thing that I wanted to do always. So it's very exciting in that way too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Because again, you took a different route to get to where you wanted to get to. Because you don't really hear that route for people as far as I did all these steps to get here. I mean, people take different routes, I guess, in life with that, but that's cool.
Yeah. But it's always, there's some familiarity about, I packed up my car with all the Tupperware it could hold, and I drove out to LA, and I was living in my car for 2 weeks, and, I was about to turn around and come home, and then I got cast in that one dream role, and that was it. It's like, yeah, wouldn't that be nice if that's how it happened for everyone?
That's how it happened for everyone. I'll be packing up my car right now.
Sure, right? I can't tell you how many times I tried to do the whole, I'm going to pack my car with Tupperware, and my parents had to be like, no, get on back in the house. No. Nope, you're not going to do it that way. So thank God they did.
Yes, you did the right route. But that's really cool though. And it's inspiring for young people, men and women that, they're watching this and listening to this, they're going to look like, oh, wow, I could actually do this. Like, if you're in music or whatever, you can be the actor or actress or whatever you want to be, you just have to work at it. And
you got to work at it. Yes,
keep fighting
exactly. Exactly. That's all it is. It's hard work and time. That's it.
That's everything in life too.
Everything. Exactly. Hard work and time. Yeah.
Now about this, how did this role come up for you?
So my manager sent me the script for the audition. You know, it just came through her, and I got the sides, and like I said, at that point it was written a little differently. So the scene that they were gonna have me audition for was this real emotional, terrible scene. And I went in, I did my audition. So I also, because of that emotional scene, I went in like crying. I did a little method acting myself. I don't normally do that. I'm much more like, I have it in my body and I'm good. But this was an opportunity where I really wanted to do something kind of out there. So I went in, just real grody and just horrible. And I had stayed up for a few days and I was crying and I just looked like a hot mess. I went in, I did the first round, and then I got a call back. And after the callback, I started being like, hang on, so this is a cowboy movie. And I heard somewhere that Idris Elba is making a cowboy movie. I think it's in Philly. Is this the same? Okay. And then I'm starting to think, like, now who's he going to play in this movie? Well, he's too old to play the 15-year-old son. So who is he going to be in this movie? And then I'm reading and I'm like, my character, she takes her kid, she drops him on his father's doorstep. And I'm like, the father? I think Idris Elba's the father. So at that point, I'm like, well, that's nice, but they're not going to cast an unknown in this part to play his wife. So I'm thinking, I'll do my best, and maybe they'll cast me as a stand-in or like an understudy or like, like a production assistant. But I'm still thinking like, there's no way that I'm up for this. So I go in for the second callback, and I, go in, cry, do my whole thing, and I leave. And then I get another callback. At that point, I was like, I think I might be actually up for this. Like, I think they're actually considering me for real. And they were. I heard that the director, Ricky Staub, was pushing hard for me to get cast, which was really encouraging, and really, I will be grateful to him till the day I die, because he just, they could have brought in, Carrie or Lupita. They could have brought in, so many other wonderful, beautiful, talented actresses that would get butts in seats, guaranteed. You know what I mean? And instead, this guy was like, I want her. Let's go with her. And so after my third callback, I got the part.
That's awesome.
And just bursted in tears for real after that. So. But throughout that whole process, I never met Idris. I never met Caleb McLaughlin. I didn't meet anyone from the film except for Ricky and a couple of the producers. But normally in that process, I would have met at least one of them along the way, and I would have had a reading with them, but nope. So my first time meeting them was my first day on set, which is it's like you're in there, you're in costume, they're putting a mic on you, and somebody goes, hey, here's your son, and there's, Caleb McLaughlin, and I'm thinking he's like 11 years old on Stranger Things, and he's like a 17-year-old man who's taller than me. And he's like, hey, Mom. And I'm like, what? And then, they put Caleb and I up on a horse, and then they pull this other horse up to a horse that's just sitting there, and I turn, there's Idris Elba. He's just smiling at me. It's like, at that moment, you just sort of go, what is my life? How did I get here? But it was a great moment. So yeah, it was fun.
That right there is really cool, because you're just like, oh wow, how did I even get here? Am I awake? Pinching yourself? Yeah, pinching stuff. Just hold on, pinch. Oh, I'm really here. Okay. Yeah. Now, is the movie all finished? Like, is it complete? And yeah, the movie. So we shot it over. I
think it's 20 days was the total. But last August, we shot it here in Philly. And then it just made its debut at the Toronto Film Festival 3 weeks ago now. So after that, as far as I know, there have been talks. That's all I am at liberty to say. But yeah, we're hoping, you know, something big and significant happens with it, whether it gets into a theater or whether it's, you know, online or both or some combination. I don't know. I don't know. But the reviews it got out of the Toronto Film Festival were pretty nice. So I'm hoping that's an encouraging sign. But yeah, you feel bad complaining at all about COVID or about the pandemic because I'm healthy, thank God. And I've been able to quarantine with my daughter and everything. But at the same time, you know, it really did throw a wrench in this whole production because, you know, a year ago, last August, it was, oh my gosh, my parents are going to get to walk into a theater. There's going to be my face. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's me and Idris. And now it's like, well, maybe we'll be able to see it at home. Mm-hmm. If you have a Netflix account, you know, I don't know what's going to happen to it, but it certainly, in some ways is a bummer, because, you know, you want that experience, but in other ways, you know, it could be a blessing. You never know. I mean, the streaming services, if it ends up going that way, it could be a great thing. Everybody's home. So it's like,
you might, I was gonna say with the streaming, yes. I mean that whole experience, I can only imagine the red carpet and everything else.
Yeah, that's the part I wanted.
I've never been on anything like that, but
me neither.
I can only imagine, like, you know, you work so hard at your craft and you make it to that level, and then COVID's like, guess what? You got to stay home.
I mean, at that point, they were still talking about wherever it was going to premiere. They were talking about, oh, maybe we could get horses on the red carpet and we could have the cast go down a horse. I mean, like, how cool would that have been? And then, you know, we're talking about everybody has to stay inside and, you know, we just don't know. So it is a bit of a bummer, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm very blessed. I have my health, I have my house, and I have the ability to sit and wait and see what happens. So I can't really complain too much. I mean, you know, I got to hug Idris Elba. How bad could it be?
I don't know. I didn't get to hug him. I don't really want to.
I didn't get to hug him. Oh, come on. I feel like if you were in his presence, you'd be like, all right, bring it in. Bring it in. Come on.
Because I'd be looking at him from, what was it called? What's the movie? Or not the movie, the TV show, The Wire. So I'm thinking about
Wire.
Stringer Bell.
Yeah, don't hug Stringer. Don't hug Stringer. Don't hug Luther. You know, there's probably a list of characters you probably don't want to hug them. But he himself, he's very nice. I'll tell you, I did the most embarrassing thing. We got to chit chat a little bit between shooting scenes. They were like resetting lights or whatever. And so we had a few minutes and I thought, you know, if I don't go over there and say something to him, I will never forgive myself because this is my chance. So I go over and I sit there and I, you know, hello, how are you today? You know, just trying to be casual, like forgetting that this is like one of the biggest mega stars in the world. So I start chit-chatting with him and I said to him, oh, you know, I know you're a DJ and you're a rapper as well. I didn't know that. And he kind of made a face like, yeah, I'm a rapper. I said, no, I know you're a rapper because I listened to your song Boasty like for a week now in anticipation of filming with you. And he was like, really? Then I proceeded to rap a lyric of his song back to him. Now, let me just say, if you have not been able to tell from my voice so far, I don't rap. Like, I don't rap at all.
Oh,
so, yeah, that was funny. He laughed at me. I didn't take it personally. I was like, whatever. I made him laugh. That's fine. That's fine.
Yes. And you got to live with that and be happy about that, because what I brag about now, I'm not sure if you know the name Ken Sagos.
Yeah.
He was in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. I got to meet him in person. I hung out with him for the weekend. And like I had him on my podcast. He came from his table, hung out with me for about a half hour. My brother, I don't know if he was in college. Yeah, he had moved to Colorado, and so my wife was like, "Hey, can you call my brother? Can you talk to my brother-in-law? He's in Colorado. He couldn't make it out here, of course." So he talked to him on his break for about 15 minutes, and then anytime I passed his table, he'd call me over to his table. But that's not even the best part. The best part is I got to buy him some fried chicken. And I know how stereotypical that may sound, but fried chicken is delicious, and
you got to do it.
Yeah, and not only that, the next day he was like, "Aaron, that chicken you got was amazing." It was almost like I made it myself. I didn't. I just ordered it, but I get it. So you made it laugh. I got Ken Sago's fried chicken, and I'm happy about that.
I mean, I was like, if I don't do it now, I won't have a good story to tell. Exactly. He definitely laughed at me, and I was just like, it's cool. Yeah. I could live with that. Exactly. A smile to his face.
Just think about this. I know how women love Idris Elba. I know that. My wife probably does as well. How many women would love to be able to tell that story that I made him laugh, even if
laugh,
it was whatever it may be.
You know, my first day when I showed up on set, I almost didn't get onto the set. And this is not a dig at security. They were doing their jobs, but they didn't know who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And my call time was like in the middle of the day, so I showed up. I'm like, hi. And they're like, hi, ma'am, can we help you? And I'm like, yes, I'm in the movie. Sure you are. Can you please move along? No, I'm really in the movie. Ma'am, we've been dealing with women all morning. Please move along. No, can you please ask somebody? Because I'm really supposed to be. They thought I was just one of the many women that came out of the woodwork to just watch Idris, and I totally understood it, but I was just like, no, I really am supposed to be here. I promise. Like, I'm not just a crazed fan. I really am in the movie, that was funny. And then my advice to any new actors going on to a film set for the first time is make nice with the costume and the hair and makeup people, because when I was shooting with Idris, first of all, the costume person, I don't know if this was planned or not, but she knew that our scene was happening, and there was going to be an embrace. And so she said, she walked over to if you see in the picture behind you, his shirt is fully buttoned up to that bandana. Mm-hmm. And then she walked over to him and she's like, how about we just undo one, two, three of these buttons? And then she walked by me and she's like, you're welcome. And I was like, really? And then when we shot the scene, she was over by the monitor and she took some pictures of me and Idris that I've not been able to share because they're from the movie, but they've been such great mementos for me in the last year, because it's like me hugging Idris. And
mm-hmm.
It's such a wonderful thing.
Be happy I wasn't on that second. I'm like, Idris, you're gonna have to button that shirt up.
You and me would have some words like
show way too much skin, so have more pride for yourself.
Well, and then there was this one night. So on a film set, if it's a thunderstorm, you can't shoot inside or outside for lightning and all that kind of stuff. So you gotta just kind of wait it out. And August, big thunderstorm season. So there was one night where we were just like holding for the storm, and there was a food truck there that had like cappuccinos or something. This is like 3:00 in the morning, by the way. So I'm standing in line and the director was standing behind me and we were chatting, and he goes, I'm surprised you didn't go in for a kiss on one of those takes. I said, well, it wasn't in the script. And he's like, yeah, I know, but I figured, Idris Elba, you would just go for it. And I was just like, you mean I could have? I was like, it's my first film. I'm not gonna, can I just try a take my way and just, do my own thing? I'm like, But I was so bummed. I was like, you should have put the kiss in there. And he was like, we took it out.
Well, not Idris Elba. One of the actresses I'm like, well, why'd you even tell me?
I mean, yeah, I have friends that have heard that story and have since not let me live it down. Like, you mean you had the opportunity and you didn't take the opportunity to kiss Idris? I was like,
hang on. There's the Me Too movement. I know men don't complain as much.
Thank you. Yes.
Because all joking aside, if that was the other way, well,
if it was the other way around, it would have been a problem.
Then again, if it was Idris Elba, it probably wouldn't have been a problem. If it was Flavor Flav,
if it was me and Idris, I would not complain. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, exactly.
No disrespect out there to Flavor Flav, but ladies, if it was Flavor Flav going in for the kiss,
I mean,
99% of you would be mad.
I think I'd be mad.
And it's not
if it wasn't discussed beforehand between me and Flav, you know, we had to have a combo.
If he just improvised it.
Yeah.
And so I only use him because I know how much women love Idris Elba. I'm like, if it's Idris Elba and he does it, you're not going to be like, oh, well, he should. It's like, oh, well, it happened.
I probably would have been surprised, but I wouldn't have complained, obviously. But I mean, like, I was like, but it you know, part of it is like, I'm kind of a noob here. Like, this is my first film. It's my first film set. And I don't know if it's appropriate for me to just do stuff that's not in the script. Like, this is what the script says. So I'm going to do what the script says. And he's like, I'm just surprised you didn't take the opportunity. I was like,
so what I got from this conversation is if she's ever in a scene like that with Idris Elba again, there's going to be a kissing scene. Whether that makes the movie or
it's happening. Somebody tell Idris it's on. Tell him, warn him. Well, I said to the director, I said, well, you're the director. Can't you order some reshoots? Can't you just put that in there? We think there should be a kiss. You know. He said, yeah, if only. So
he could have.
I guess I missed my opportunity. No, I feel good about that. I actually think had I done that, I probably would have felt embarrassed later and been like, I can't believe I did that, you know.
Maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. Also, he's like newly married. His wife was there. It would have been awkward.
Yeah,
for me. I met her. She's very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah. I
am interested in seeing this movie, though. I am very interested in seeing this movie. I've been a fan of Method Man since I was a kid. Like, between his music, seeing him in How High, seeing him in acting in other roles, like, I'm not a fan of Idris Elba.
No, you know, Method Man, my first night on set, I had a full conversation with him. Oops, I just banged my camera. I had a full conversation with him for like 10, 12 minutes. Mm-hmm. Then got to my car and realized that was Method Man. Because I had just come from doing the scene with Idris that my mind was still kind of, and this man came up to me, hey, how you doing? Introduced himself as Curtis.
Clifford.
Or whatever whatever his real name is. Introduced himself as that. And then we just started talking. And then I literally got to my car, put my key in the ignition, and I was like, oh, that was Method Man. Oh my goodness. And I'm looking, I'm like, can I wave? Did he leave already? He was gone. But yeah, he was really nice. Lorraine Toussaint was also very nice. I only got to see her very briefly, but she was really cool. And Jarrell Jerome, I met him on my last day. Mm-hmm. I met him as I rapped. He came up to me. He's like, hi, I'm Jarrell. And I was, again, like, whoop, hi, I'm Liz, you know. Then later it's like, oh, that was Jarrell Jerome. And then, you know, of course, a couple months later, he wins this Emmy. And we were just like, whoa. So, yeah, everyone on the set was really nice. The Cowboys were so sweet. And so sweet to all of us to let us, you know, shoot there. And a lot of them appear in the film. They play parts in the film, but they're the real deal. Like, they are the real guys. And it was just such an incredible experience to have that be a true story set in my hometown with like people that I know standing just out of frame being like, hey, you know, the whole experience was just like, this is incredible. this is incredible. So yeah, it was awesome.
That's cool though, because I'm sure you get that rush, like that adrenaline rush. That it's one of those feelings to where when you're doing something you're really, really passionate about, you want that feeling. It's like a drug, so to speak. You're like,
yeah, in a way, yeah.
I all the time, but I know I need to take a break. You know, I need to sleep.
Yeah.
It's just like when you're doing it, it's just like, holy crap, I'm really doing this. For you, it's like I'm on set with these people. I'm really doing this. And I'm just like, that for me, that's awesome to hear those type of stories. I love hearing those type of stories, especially when it's somebody that's more of, came from the ground up. That's something that's not like you're into it. It's like, okay, cool. So you worked your way up to this. And then the success of this movie, I feel like it's going to be really huge for you. I really do feel that.
I hope so. I mean, it's bizarre. It's like surreal that like, I did a movie with Idris Elba and Caleb McLaughlin was my son. Like, I've watched Stranger Things since then, and I'm just like, it's my son. I've texted Caleb when he did an episode of Lip Sync Battle, and he like ripped his shirt off, and I texted like, Caleb, it's your mother. Put your shirt back on. Mm-hmm. He didn't respond. But it's crazy going from that to like I'm doing podcast interviews and like someone tweeted about me after seeing the film in Toronto. Like it's the most surreal, incredible experience. And I'm hoping that, like any actor, we hope that it opens doors and creates more opportunities. But like I said to my mom the other day, I said, if nothing else happens, I mean, God forbid, but I could die happy knowing that I lived my dream, at least for one film. Now I want to try to turn it into as many films as I can. But to have that experience, and it's not just any film. It's like you worked with the biggest star on the planet in an actual feature film in a starring role. All the boxes have been checked off. You know what I mean? It's like
that's amazing. And then for me on this side of the camera, it's like these people actually want to come on my show. I'm not like a huge, I'm not the Breakfast Club, so to speak. I don't have to.
Thank God.
I mean, I'm a fan of the show. I'm different than them, but I mean, like,
yes.
As far as their following, as far as their huge following, I'm not like that big, like, oh, you get on this show and then boom, you're going to take off. It's just somebody who's just doing it as a hobby, independent, but real passionate about it. And it's cool that people are like, yeah, I want to come on your show. Or it's even cooler. Like, I know I have, like, Steve will reach out to me now and like, hey, I have these people for you. But I also love the fact, like, when I get an email, like, hey, I heard about your show or I seen your show. Can I come? Like, yeah. How did you?
That's got to be an incredible feeling. It's like.
It really is.
Show? Yeah.
Because, like, with this one, I mean, well, with my horror one, because this, like I said, this is like the first episode. I don't even have an email for this. I feel like I need to make an email specifically for this thing. But like for my horror one, I'll get emails and someone will say like, a friend of a friend told me about your show and I checked it out, or just something like that. And it's like an indie actor. I've been getting people like directors like, hey, I'd like you guys to review my movie. And I'm just like, holy crap, really? Awesome. I mean,
isn't it like such a cool feeling? You're like,
it is.
I'm moving up. I'm getting there,
And then I'm the type of person, like, especially like, again, with the horror stuff, that's like my main thing. I'll send, like, if I have somebody on here, I have a great interview, I'll like, okay, well, I'm cool with these horror podcasters, reach out to them too so you can get more exposure.
Yeah.
I try to do that and build on that. And now I have a creators network, like I was telling you in the beginning, called the Z Network, where it's all types of content creators. Like, it doesn't have to be just podcasters. It doesn't have to be horror podcasters. We have horror podcasts on there right now. We have my one friend, he does photography and videography, and he's gonna be doing like tutorial videos on how to do certain things with cameras and all that kind of stuff that I have no idea how to do. Make it entertaining and educational at the same time. We have two horror indie directors that want to work with us. As far as like, one of them is gonna make a series strictly for the Z Network, which is gonna be on YouTube, and just
that's so cool.
We want like independent musicians. We don't care what type of music you do, but just again, the main thing of creating this network, besides growing, was to help other people who have little to no voice grow and be heard and be pushed, because we don't have that big industry pushing us. So it's like, if we all the way I explained it was, say there's 10 people on the network, right? And those 10 people independently have 10 fans. Their 10 fans are going to follow you over there. That's 100 fans for that one network right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually it grows more and more from that, and just see where it takes us. And again, I'm very happy that I have this interview, because that's just another thing on the network. And this show here is going to be, like I said, it's called Popcorn Pints. And it's going to be...
I love that title, by the way.
Thanks. I can't even take credit for it. I have to give a shout out to my
Popcorn and Pints.
Anthony and Chris for coming up with that name. But basically, like, this show here is going to be like a multi-host show, because we all have our other shows. So I won't have to, not that I wouldn't put any focus into this, but I say if, you know, someone's like, hey, I want to review this movie that's non-horror. Okay, well, let me see who's free on the Z Network that can come review this movie with you. Or I want to do this interview. Or if they want to do an interview with a certain person that's on the network, that's also cool too. But then like I said, my main show is my horror thing, but I will jump onto this more. You don't know this about me, but a lot of people know this about me, especially my jerk friends. I'm not a fan of Nicolas Cage at all, so... My friend already said it. He was like, we need to have a Nicolas Cage marathon. And I'm just
like...
Why?
I'm just curious. I was gonna say, like, oh, I disagree, and then I was like, but why? Just out of curiosity, why him?
Everything. I don't, to me, now this isn't you, so Hollywood or whoever, don't come after her. This is Sir.
No, this is not me. Hollywood, don't come after me. If you guys go after Sir Sturdy.
Yes, if you guys listen to my old episodes or my horror episodes, you'll hear me bring him up.
Okay.
I'm just not a fan of his movies. Like, I watched quite a few of his movies. I don't remember all the ones I've watched. I remember as a kid, I watched Gone in 60 Seconds. I liked that, but I think I liked it because the females in it and because I love cars. That explains that. I liked Face Off with him and John Travolta. I haven't seen it in years, but I feel like my thing with him is I feel like in every single movie he plays pretty much the same role. I feel like he writes his own script. He does his own thing. He's always making stupid faces, which is just his normal face, and he's always yelling. So I just, which it's gonna be funny and entertaining when I have to do these freaking movie reviews about movies he's in. And
the faces, that's the best part.
And the funny thing is like, I'm gonna try my best to give the movie an actual review without my, I'm not gonna say I hate the guy. I don't know him to hate him. Like,
right.
It's when I say I hate him, it's more of a joking thing.
Yeah, we know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's like, just do something else, man. Just like, and what makes it. My last thing I want to say about it is what makes it funnier is because, like, he was in a couple horror movies.
Yes.
Of course, I had to do a horror movie review on him because my friends, again, he doesn't like Nicolas Cage. Guess what? Let's do this movie. And now that we have a show with every genre of movie besides horror for this show, there's probably going to be a lot of Nicolas Cage talk on here. And
I have to say, I'm not a fan of his horror movies. And I would say of his other movies, I mean, I liked his performance in Leaving Las Vegas, but that's a movie that it's like, I will watch that once. Mm-hmm. I probably won't watch it again. It's very heavy, dark, depressing subject matter. So it's like, it's a good movie, but it's like, it's almost like Precious. Like, you see it once, so so you could be like, I saw it, but I've only seen Precious once. You know what I mean? It was just too much to get through. But and then yeah, like, I can't really think of I do like Face Off. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like Face Off. I'm trying to think of it. Yeah, I was never like, I didn't like Ghost Rider. I didn't like National Treasure. And then, of course, like, his horror movies like Wicker Man. And I mean, I
think I've seen Wicker Man. The one I seen was Mandy, which came out a couple years ago. Didn't like it.
I didn't see it.
Scenes. I did say something nice about him. I said he had a cool shirt on, and some weapon he had was cool. But that's about as nice as I can get. I try to pull positivity out of it.
Cool shirt on.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all you can come up with. He's got a cool shirt on.
That's positive. I think with me doing these reviews with other people with his movies, that's what's going to make it very entertaining for people when they're watching it and listening and laughing. Like, this isn't like a fake thing. Like, you know how some people like hype it up? Like, I'm like this off the camera. I do not like his movies. I refuse to watch his movies, but now I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, no, now it's your job, so now you have to. I know.
Like,
well, yeah, he's kind of a polarizing figure. I feel like he's one of those actors, whenever I ask people, it's like either you love him or you hate him. Like, most people aren't like, yeah, Nicolas Cage, he's okay. Like, it's either like, oh, I love Nicolas, or it's like, man, I can't stand Nicolas. You know, it's always like one.
And I always make the joke. I'm like, if me and him ever met in person, like say if he was at a horror convention or just a con in general, I don't know how familiar you are with Family Guy.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love Family Guy.
Peter and the chicken. Like how they always. I feel like
just it's like a 10-minute fight in the middle of everything.
Oh, yeah, and then we just walk away after, like nothing happened.
That's the best part.
Which I mean,
you just come back and you go, and anyway, like mid sentence, like nothing happened. Yeah.
And people are just like, weren't you two just fighting? Like, I don't know.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's over there now. We're on this, right? Yeah. No, I do love Family Guy. You know why I love Family Guy? This is off topic, but I think, like we were talking with some other people, I think Seth MacFarlane is one of those artists that kind of gets a bum rap and is insanely more talented than people realize, because not just as an animator, which in and of itself is a really difficult skill, because it's not just drawing. I mean, animation is a very specific skill that not everyone can do. So he's a great animator. Obviously he's a great voiceover artist. I mean, his impressions are really spot on, but then the voices that he comes up with and creates are really great. The fact that he can do like multiple accents is impressive to me. And then the fact that he has this incredibly beautiful jazzy voice, this beautiful singing voice that most people are like, oh, we didn't even know that he could sing. And I'm like, if you ever look at the show for more than a second, in any episode where, you know, one of his characters is singing, and often they're singing with each other, like characters that he plays are singing with each other. He's an incredibly gifted musician, and I love that about him. And then he's like a Star Trek, like he's an obsessive Star Trek fan, which is why he came out with the Orville. And I just think he kind of gets a bum rap from people, which is unfortunate. I
think the biggest bum rap is because of Family Guy and because all the content that they cover, which I love it because they, like, all the jokes that they do, they get on everybody and everything.
On everyone.
Not like they're just picking on one race or one. It's everybody and everything has been like that since day one.
Uniform.
And I love it. And I feel like, you know, like South Park is the same way.
Yep.
I mean, even worse in the sense of that, but it's the same.
And I love South Park. I think adult cartoons in general get a bum rap from people, and they sort of get dismissed as potty humor, especially South Park and Family Guy, maybe The Simpsons a little bit, but they get kind of dismissed as potty humor. And oftentimes they're a lot more deep than that. I always say, I feel like with Seth MacFarlane, I feel like Family Guy is the show that the network wants him to write, and American Dad is the show that he's always wanted to write, because the humor on American Dad seems it's so laser sharp, and it's perfect the way that he's able to use those characters in order to spoof other people. I think it's brilliant. And actually, I'll go out on a limb and say I was a fan of the Cleveland show too when it was on for those 4 seasons. I was. And the reason is
I'm not knocking you. I was just about to say, holy crap, because me and my wife watched that season. We watched the thing of it, the 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Like maybe about a year ago, and we're going through, we'll watch like here and there. We're going through it again. I think we're on season 2 now. Love it. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. I think people were upset about the fact that now, and which has now been recently rectified, I think, a black character voiced by a white guy sort of rubbed people the wrong way. And I get it. I do. I get it. I do think Mike Henry, the voice of Cleveland, was quite brilliant at what he does. But I get why people were maybe bothered by it. But I think that was Seth MacFarlane doing his Norman Lear thing. I don't know if you know this story, but I'm a big TV buff, in case you couldn't tell. Norman Lear, right? So he created, All in the Family, and then he created Good Times, and very famously, some I believe it was members of the Black Panther Party stormed in his office one day and held him at gunpoint, and he said, well, what do you want? What can I do? And they said, we're tired of seeing people like us struggle. We don't want to see us struggle. We already know what it is to struggle. Write us a show that shows us making it. And he said, okay. And he wrote The Jeffersons. That's where The Jeffersons came from. Oh, wow. And I feel like the Cleveland show was somewhat Seth MacFarlane's, I want to write a show for this community because I hear you. I hear that, you're underrepresented in cartoons because that was a big thing. You don't have a cartoon character that, is yours. Mm-hmm. So I hear you. So if I have the ability to create for Fox and I have the platform to be able to create any kind of cartoon for Fox, I will create something for you. And that's kind of where he came from with it. And I was like, I actually kind of like that. I think that's respectful. But
I will say about that, I do love that show. When Cleveland was off of Family Guy, I missed him on Family Guy just because of I think of my group of guy friends, and your guy friends, you're together, you're stupid together, and you're missing that one piece.
Yeah.
And when they brought him, then when you seen his own show and he had his new group of friends, yes, I enjoyed that, but it still wasn't the same. And then when they brought him back, I was like, damn, this show's gone. I love this.
I know.
Show. But they brought him back to this with his regular, his normal friends and all this stuff. It just worked. I mean, it was. And I wasn't, as far as the voice thing goes, that didn't bother me. And I was doing that because it's just a voice thing. It's not like for certain roles. Okay, well, this character in this movie, when you're telling a true story is the only time it would bother me. Like when you're telling a true story and like, okay, well, we're gonna have, just because I can't think of any other actor's name, we're gonna have Nicolas Cage play Martin Luther King in a movie. I know that's way off.
Well, no, there was, you remember the Harriet movie that came out 2 years ago?
Yes, they were gonna cast
Julia
Roberts, right?
Julia Roberts.
Yeah, see?
Because someone in there was like, they won't know the difference. Nobody remembers that Harriet Tubman was black. And I was just like,
what? Like, who?
Have you never read a history book? But yeah.
But see, now that would bother me versus, like, again, a make-believe character. Even that, it's different. It's like, okay, he does a great job doing the voice.
He does.
The way Cleveland looks and everything, that's what I picture when I see Cleveland.
Exactly. I mean, I get it in terms of maybe other characters like Apu from The Simpsons. Although to me, again, it's like if you've had the guy be this voice from the beginning, I don't know how I feel about him giving it up and bringing someone. But I get it. I mean, if you're going to draw a black character, why not have a black voice actor? I get the argument here, for both sides. But I think in that particular case, at least with Cleveland and Mike Henry, I thought he was so great as Cleveland.
I have another, argument, so to speak, in quotes, with the whole voice thing is you'll have female characters doing young male characters. And it's like, why can't we? Okay, if you guys are upset about the race thing, well, what about the whole gender thing? Like this woman does, which I think it's excellent. Don't get me wrong, but it's like this woman does. These kids' voices that are both guys and this girl's voice. So she has like 3 roles, but you're upset with this guy just because he's not like, that's just.
I know. To me,
whoever's the best at it should be the one doing it.
Whoever's the best at it. That's what I think. I mean, and
I'm not saying don't open up opportunities to make it reverse.
Right.
I'm not saying that, but I feel like if a show's already set in stone, you don't got to flip it up to make people feel good. Maybe make another show where you're like, okay, well, this show has, black character, Spanish character, whatever it could be, and this is a new show, and this is what it's about. Because then you don't want to sticking with Family Guy. You don't want it to be like a spoof or a ripoff of Family Guy.
Right. Exactly.
It's and cheesy, and it's gonna last like 2 seasons, if that. And gonna be done with it,
and it's gonna be mired in controversy the whole time.
Exactly.
And I you know, in my opinion, to me, it's like, well, if that's a problem, then just bring on some more characters that are people of color, and hire more actors of color to be those characters, but you don't have to take it away from
somebody else,
the person who created the role and who, by all accounts, is doing a great job and is not being disrespectful with it. Because that's the other thing. I don't feel like Mike Henry, I never felt like he was disrespectful being Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Where some people, some white actors, when they're voicing black characters, and black actors do it too, when we're, voicing white characters and you go way over the top with it. And it's like, okay, well, that's not how they all sound, but
if you're doing a certain race character, like if you're not of that race, have somebody from that culture that's in there. Does this offend you? Is this disrespectful?
Yeah.
How can we do something that's, if it's a cartoon or it's funny, of course, how can we do something that's comical and funny in your culture, but not disrespecting your culture or not disrespecting your gender, whatever the case may be?
Yeah.
And I feel like that right there would solve a lot of these issues, because I feel, I'm not saying it's not a bad thing that people are speaking up, but I do feel people do go over the top with certain things.
Yeah. It's a little bit like, I don't think that's the most controversial thing we could harp on. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of how these shows are done, I feel like it's probably the least. But, I don't, if it legitimately bothers people, I don't want to dismiss their feelings on that. But I do think in certain cases, it's such a fine line, right? It's a fine line, but I do think in some cases, particularly with like Family Guy, at least to me as a Black person watching, I was never offended. I thought he was hilarious, but I did hear he's been recast with an actor of color, so I'm also very interested to see what this new actor brings to the role of Cleveland.
See, now that, if I'm telling you right now, and I don't know who's going to see this, but big names, if you guys do see this, when you see this, if Cleveland's voice is off, you're going to piss off a lot of Black people.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, So, like, I don't know. Is this new person, does he sound like Mike Henry's version of Cleveland, or is he his own Cleveland? But we've all gotten used to hearing that Cleveland.
Cleveland is what you were explaining earlier, where you hear the voice, but when you see the face, it's completely different. And it made sense because of, you're assuming, as far as Family Guy goes, that's the area he lives in. So obviously that's what you're going to portray. That's how you're going to act, because that's what you're around all the time.
Right.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that. And as a matter of fact, I feel like if the gentleman who did his voice is from that kind of area, from that culture, he would understand. He's heard other African Americans speak that maybe grew up around that culture in that suburb.
Yep.
How they talk, how they act, as their mannerisms are. Versus if you're growing up in an urban area or the hood or whatever you want to call it, it's going to be completely different.
Totally different. Hello.
When they make Cleveland do like the whole hood thing, but he still sounds like a dirty.
Yeah. He's from Virginia. He's got the Southern accent. No matter what he does, he's like, I think he's a great character, and I think that voice actor is a great voice artist.
I do too.
So, regardless, he'll be working. It's just, it'll be interesting to see what Cleveland sounds like next season. I'm kind of interested.
Me too. And I'll even go out and say this as well. As far as certain TV shows and cartoons and all that, if you don't like it, if you're offended by it because of somebody's voice, not something serious, change the damn channel. It's one thing if it's being like really offensive and like mean and hateful and not really telling a story. But if it's just, because this person's not a male or a female or not this race, we got to complain about this. Like, there's way more crazy.
There's way more serious stuff to complain about. I know. And and I'm not saying don't create opportunities for people of color. I think you should. But in that case, then to me, the clear solution would be, let's create some more characters so we can bring in some more actors of color.
Create more characters, or African American creators, women creators of all races and genders or whatever, create something new that more inclusive. And boom, you got your show. I mean, it's easier said than done, yes. But
yeah.
you have to put it this way: if you have the voice talent, if you have the animation talent, get together and do something. Even if to put out, I mean, put it out on YouTube. Do something to where you can get seen and heard. Eventually, someone will pick that up if it's getting the hits and the likes and the loves, and people are watching it and sharing it all over the place. Social media can be your best friend if you use it correctly. Don't use it to complain. Use it to create. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. Use it to create. Which is what you're doing. So
Ryan, I'm working on it, but
I think it's going great. So, keep doing what you're doing. And then you're going to keep inspiring other people to do what you're doing. And then hopefully we'll have lots of people with new podcasts and everybody having a hook and stuff. That would be much more exciting to me. But
it's funny you say that, because we also have another network that's like the sister, or actually, you know what? I'll say the child of this network, called the Alpha Network.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why we came with both names really quick. The Z Network, because of Gen Z, I believe it was from 95 to 2015. And that's kind of when closer to 2015, of course, social media, more people have an internet in their households.
Yeah.
The Alpha Network is now. So that's like the kids now that were born from 2015 or 2016 and on till now.
Okay.
And with that network, we wanted it to be for children. Like, if somebody on the network has a child that wants to make a YouTube channel, they make their YouTube channel.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Also put it on that network. And we want the kids to be the stars of that show. So, for example, if they want to learn how to cook, the kids will be helping their parents cook, but they'll be the stars of the show. People love watching. I mean, I do unboxing videos on my horror channel. Kids doing unboxing videos or unboxing a toy, because kids love watching that. Just content that kids like to watch and be a part of. I mean, my one friend that's my partner of the network, the photographer and all that, he said he had his daughter, I believe he said she's about 5. She has a little camera. And like when he goes on set, sometimes he'll bring her. And he said what he might start doing is recording her, just like doing little things, and put that on the Alpha Network. And it's a good thing, because what it does for children is it gives them courage. It makes them believe in themselves. And then a cool thing is, look, I made this. I'm on YouTube. I did this. This is cool. And if school ever gets back to normal, show and tell. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean, show and tell.
Yeah, remember you bring in a little toy, but just imagine, look, I know I'm not supposed to have this in school, but just push play. Our teacher, go to the Alpha Network on YouTube and go to my video and push play. That's what I'm showing and telling.
That's what I'm showing and telling. Wow. What a cool idea. I like that. But
because a lot of times when kids want to do what we're doing, and sometimes hey, this isn't for children, but it's like, why not make something for them that we're doing? It's not necessarily the same exact thing. It's similar. It's, okay, I'm doing a horror thing, but you can do a little horror movies for kids, like Goosebumps and stuff like that. If we have other actors and actresses, maybe they have children that are actors and actresses. Hey, we can do an interview on the Alpha Network with them. So it'll be the Alpha Network. Kids can go and watch that. Kids can be a part of that and kind of go from there. We don't have that one. It's up, but it's not, we don't have any shows for it yet.
Right.
But that's a work in progress. And I mean, you can't just say, listen, you have kids, you're on a network, your kid has it. You can't do that. I can't force somebody to look, you have to put your kid on the Alpha Network if you want to be on this network. It's like, no, if they want to be a part of it, and if you allow your kid to be a part of it, cool. My one brother out in Colorado, he takes his sons fishing, especially his older, because his older son's 6, his younger son's 3. So he takes him fishing. He's going to be going ice fishing and all that. He's talking about getting a GoPro camera at the end of this year and just recording his fishing things for the Z Network.
Oh, cool.
And then doing stuff with his son for the Alpha Network, for the
Alpha.
How
awesome.
He likes fishing. And the funny thing is I think he'll record little videos with his son, or let his kids record videos on his phone. And they'll say, it's like when he's leaving, or hey, bye YouTube, bye, and stuff like that. And he's not going to say you're not on YouTube, because you don't do that. You just think that, and now he'll really be on. He can. Really,
oh my gosh, have that's a following. So funny.
why not? Branch this out so the kids can have something to wear. And I mean, for people who do have children of any age, what do they have? This in their hand all the time? A controller?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
And they're on YouTube, especially with the younger kids. They're on YouTube, just watching kids open things, watching kids play games. And it's like, you can be that kid playing that game, or you can be that kid opening that thing that other people are watching.
That's so cool. I like that. That's so cool. I may have to send some kids your way.
hey, we'd be all for it. That'd be awesome. And
That's awesome.
The main thing is like what we do is like I have my own YouTube channel. Everybody on here has their own content, like their own YouTube channels.
Right.
And so what they would do is to come on here, you just send us your YouTube video. Of course, our rules are simple. Rule number 1, no hate speech. You could swear and all that. You can talk all you want. Just no hate speech. That's for the Z Network. Of course, you have to keep it clean for the Alpha Network. But no hate speech, anything as far as copyright, because we don't want to get flagged and have our stuff taken down. And then we'll have a watermark. Like for the Z Network, it'll be in this top corner right here, a little watermark. And for the Alpha Network, it'll be in the same corner, but in the Alpha Network, it'll be the A Network.
The A, yeah.
Simple as that. Like simple rules to follow. And then just have you don't have to have a following, but I would suggest having your own YouTube channel so you can build your following and then just bring it also just send us the video. We'll throw it in the Alpha Network or the Z Network, whatever age range you flow with, and kind of go from there. And just it's for anybody, any type of creators. If you can do music, you don't have to be a podcaster. Whatever, you could be a whatever you want to do. You can do random videos, whatever it is, and just bring it on, and we'll help. We'll all help each other grow. Yeah. It's like a true community.
Yeah. And that is such a cool idea. I love that. This whole, process with the podcasts last week and this week it's been really eye-opening for me, and like hearing how people are doing things or like the ideas people are coming up with. I'm just like, I'm so inspired by you guys. I'm just like, that is so cool. Like I'm just, I'm like that schmuck that sits in my apartment with like a script and is like, but you guys are like coming up with actual like creative ideas and like exchanging ideas and creating spaces where people could do that. Like that's so inspiring.
But you're doing the same thing as far as creating things, because as far as what I do for my main show, my horror show, I review movies. I haven't done horror shows yet, but I would. We do anything horror related, we do on that show, and then it'll be like anything non-horror related as far as movies go, we'll be doing on this show. So you guys create that for us, and not only that, but you guys actually are nice enough to come on our shows, our platforms to yes, I know you're coming on to promote yourself, at the same time you're coming on and sitting down and having a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, and this is fun. I'm just having a conversation. This is hilarious.
I love it. I never of course, when I was a kid, this wasn't here, but I'll go to my show really quick. When I started my horror podcast, it was really just me, my brother, some friends, and my cousin just here and there recording together. And it went from that to making a Facebook page for it. Facebook group for it, then a page. And just going to other horror groups and letting people know about it, inviting other horror fans on there to review a movie with me or with me and one of my co-hosts when they were available. And it grew from that to getting interviews of just other horror fans or like directors, producers, all that stuff on the indie scene, mostly on the indie level, but some other higher levels too. But I'm appreciative. I'm grateful for every single one of them. And now it's just like, and now because of Steve, shout out to Steve, it's another lane that I'm opening for people like yourself to come on that aren't in horror movies yet, because you will be.
I'm sure I will be. It's kind of like a rite of passage. You got to do at least one, right? So yeah,
1 or 4 or 6, yeah.
Or career, whatever.
Yeah, but I'm it's like a blessing in disguise when Steve did ask me to do this favor for him, because I'm like, you know what, this show here is going to be a Z Network exclusive, which it'll only be on the Z Network. There's not going to be a YouTube channel for it. I will probably make an email for it just so it'll be easier to kind of decipher through which is which. Okay. Other than that, it'll be like this. To watch this show, to watch this interview, people, you're going to have to come to the Z Network and enjoy it. And there's going to be plenty other awesome shows on here, hilarious shows. So hit that YouTube button, click that subscribe button. And everybody that's on this network, if they have their own YouTube channel, which a lot of us do, subscribe to their channels too. You got to help each other grow. That's what I'm all about. I'm not one of those selfish people that's like, okay, well, I had this awesome interview and I'm not going to tell you how you can get a hold of this person. I'm like, no, I'm going to put the information down at the bottom if they want me to, and go ahead and reach them. And hey, sometimes they'll send me something. I've had people, hey, I had a great time on the Horror Research 30 podcast. You should go check that out. You should be on there. And
absolutely,
I do the same thing. I show the same love back, and it slowly but surely is growing.
But that's wise, because you show love. That's why it's going to grow.
It's not my 9 to 5 yet. I got to speak it into existence, but I do feel today this is going to be like my thing. And going back to the Breakfast Club, like I want to be similar to that in the sense of where I can reach a huge audience and where I can give people opportunities, even if it's somebody coming on my platform, having an interview, people listen to that interview, to watch the interview, then of course, then they go and look up this person and figure out who they are and like, okay, I want to see more of this person. That's like a amazing goal for me. That's one of my main goals with this platform now. And I mean, I'm starting at, you gotta start at the bottom, and I'm getting my interview skills up. I know what to ask, what not to ask.
Yes. I think you're doing great. I mean, I'm not a podcaster, but I think you're doing great.
With me, with my interviews, I know some people might say it's lazy. I don't like looking up too much information. Like if it's a movie, someone's like, "Hey, I want you to watch this movie before the interview." I'll do that. But as far as like going on their IMDb's, I will check it out. I don't like studying it too much because I don't want to be stuck on their IMDb asking them questions. I'd rather just like how me and you had a genuine conversation. Yeah, because you get more out of that person. Like especially. Yeah, you get way more out of that person, the actor, the actress, the producer, whoever it is. You get way more out of that person, and they're not getting asked the same questions. Like, okay,
exactly.
Well, you did this, you dated this person. Like, I don't care about that. If you want to, but I'm not going to ask you that. Like, that's if
you asked me that kind of stuff, you'd be bored real fast because I'd just be like, I didn't do anything. You'd be like. Well, that was a great story, Liz. Next, you know what I mean? So,
but you get more out of people. Like I've had people come on here when like this is my very first interview or my very first podcast, so I don't know how to do it. And then like within 5 to 10 minutes, they're warmed up. I had one young lady on here who the very first episode she was not staying up. She was like really shy and quiet. Second time I had her on, complete opposite, and she's gonna come on again.
Used to it. She did.
Yeah, she just. Embraced it more, but the funny thing, the first time I believe I reached out to her, the second time when she came on again, she reached out to me, which was awesome, and then reached out to me again, but we had schedules that were mixed up, so we had to reschedule, but stuff like I love stuff like that when people come on here. I love when people come on here and open up. I know we're talking about movies and stuff like that and TV shows, for both shows, horror or not, but when they open up and talk about more of their personal lives and certain struggles they've been through, and the reason why I like that a lot is because you don't know who's listening or who's watching, who can be going through something at the same exact thing, something more drastic or something not as drastic. But it's like, especially with young, and I gear this more towards younger females and of all races, because I know women go through a lot of things in general. And it's just like, oh, wow, she's going through this too. Cool. Or she's going through this too, and this is how she handled it.
Yeah.
And
it means a lot when you know what people have gone through is similar to what you are going through, especially when you're like striving to make it. Yeah, it means a lot. It absolutely does. So
don't get me wrong. I do this because I do want to entertain and make people laugh. Like that's another. I like to laugh and smile and just. It's like either show I do now. It's like a getaway. Like I've had people reach out to me and thank me because there's like, especially this freaking crazy pandemic. They're like, thank you for still putting out, having us on or still putting this stuff out through all this COVID thing, because for this hour and a half, 2 hours, however long the episode is, which I know we got to go soon because you got another interview soon.
I do.
Speaking of that.
I mean, I'm excited about it, but I could do this all day. Like, I mean, come on. I could do this all day.
I'd like to schedule you on again.
I'd love to come on again. That would be fun.
But yeah, I like that this show can be a getaway for people. Like whatever show I'm on, I love that it can be a getaway for people for however long they're listening to it or watching it. And then
it's laid back, it's easy going, it's relaxed, it's a nice kind of vibe feeling. Like it doesn't feel like a formal interview. It's just like we're having a conversation. I love that.
That's how I tell people all the time. Like I was like, I'm very unprofessional when it comes to this. I don't do because I'll go get into the Breakfast Club. They have like their notes where it's just like, okay, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't do notes. I don't do nothing. I just want it to be a genuine conversation. I want to get to know the person. Whatever they want to share, they can share. Whatever they want to promote, they can promote and kind of go from there. And, hopefully they come back on. I always say you can come back on if you want to. And I mean that. It's not like one of those fake things where you go to your aunt's house. It's like, oh, come over whenever you want. But they don't really mean it just to be nice.
It's like that friend, like, we'll get together soon. I'll see you soon, and then you never.
Yeah,
I'm not calling her. Like delete. Yeah. No, this has been really, really fun. I'm a talker, in case you couldn't tell. I like to talk a lot. So no, this is really fun because I like the laid back sort of atmosphere because, you know, who wants to be formal all the time?
I never want to be formal.
Like, honestly, that's why I go by Liz. I'm very informal. Mm-hmm. When people are like, Elizabeth, I'm like, am I in trouble? I didn't do it. Am I? Oh. So yeah, I'm very laid back, very relaxed. So this was a pleasure for me, for sure.
Well, thank you. And I had a great time. We definitely have to do this again.
Heck yes. Let's do it again.
And maybe next time we can review a movie. Hopefully we can discuss this movie.
Yes. Well, either way, I mean, I will definitely come back. If it's not this movie, I'll bring a movie and I'll be like, okay, let's talk about this one. Maybe even a horror movie, but I will have to, I don't know, do a couple shots first. I don't know. I'll have to work my way up to actually watching the movie.
That's fine too. I mean, put it this way. It could be any genre of movie because if it's non-horror, it's going to be on Popcorn and Pints. Yes. If it is horror, it'll be on Horror Research 30. Or Any Last Words podcast. It's another horror podcast. Like, we have quite a few horror content on here. That's just because that's what that's like what I'm really connected with, is the horror.
Yeah, yeah.
But we also have other, like, we have one called Stories from a Bar. We have one called the Statesman series. I can go on. I'll tell you about it next time. I know you have to get ready for your next interview. I don't want to.
No, it's all good. Thank you so much for having me. This is really fun. And I promise next time we come back, I'm going to have a movie that we're going to do. I hope it's this one. Hopefully it's this one. But if not, I'll bring a movie to discuss. Maybe not horror. Maybe I'll help you get the other ones. I don't know.
Nicolas Cage, right? Just get it out the way.
I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you. I like you. I wouldn't do that to
you. They like or love me. They're doing it.
I mean, I wouldn't do that to myself. No offense to Nicolas Cage, but like, I could choose probably some other ones.
Now, before we go, is there anything you want to plug, or like, where can the people find you? That's my first question. And then just the second part of it is, when you get a chance, can you just send me those links? And once this episode comes out, I will drop them below in the description.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm sort of kind of taking things easy a little bit these days, but you can always find me on Facebook under Liz Priestley. You can always find me on my IMDb under Liz Priestley. And then, you know, as far as other things, I'm writing at the moment. There's a web series and a screenplay that I've been talking to some people about, exploring that content. So we'll see what happens down the road with that. But other than that, I mean, just look for Concrete Cowboy, and hopefully, you know, that'll be coming to us very soon. And, you know, we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, I can definitely send you the links to my Facebook and my IMDb.
I don't even have like a closing for this show. Like, my other closings for my horror shows, I'll see you in your nightmares. But this, I have nothing yet. Like, this is the first episode.
I mean, it'd be like, you got to say something like, I don't know, something about
it's a multi-host show, so I guess everybody's gonna have their own thing. So for now, I'm just gonna say I have nothing.
It's got to be something about popcorn, like, and that's the whole kernel. I don't know. I'm not good on the spot, but we'll help you.
Something will pop up eventually.
See, pop up, popcorn. Look, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. You'll come up with something, I'm sure.
I greatly appreciate you coming on here. I had an amazing time. I can't wait to do this again. I know we'll do this again in the
absolutely.
Anytime you want to come on one of these shows, just, you have my email. Just shoot me an email.
Cool.
Once again, everybody go check Liz out. She's awesome, amazing. She got to hug Idris Elba, ladies, and she got to make them laugh. But I got to, you know, Kenseo's fried chicken. People can say
yes.
That's cool.
Yes. This has been the background of my phone for a year. I'll let you see that. A year.
No,
come on.
Is that going to be something I have to cut out? Or is
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. Just making sure.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Again,
I can't show more than that, you guys.
Thank thank you again so much for coming on. If you could wait like 2 seconds, just like
yeah.